What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty from Ty Drives, and this is the 2022 Audi RS e-tron GT. So this is going to be a very exciting POV drive here. Now, a little bit of an overview before we set off on the drive. Now we're going to take it down to a cul-de-sac. We'll test out the turning circle. This car has four-wheel steering, so that'll be pretty interesting. We'll then get it out onto a sort of main road. We'll get up to 45, 50 miles an hour, see what the wind noise and the handling is like up at that speed. Then we'll get it out onto the back road, which should be the fun part. We'll get an acceleration. We'll also see how it handles the corners as well as the bumps on the bumpier section of the road. But with all that aside, let's get going. So throughout this video, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth between comfort and dynamic. So we'll kind of get a good view of those two different modes and see how the vehicle reacts to the changing of the modes, which will be pretty interesting. And also definitely make sure to check my channel if you're looking for a dedicated features review of this particular car. Now, I have driven a new e-tron GT, just not the RS version. So I'm assuming it'll drive pretty similar, but with quite a bit more handling power since we have wider, bigger tires as well as quite a bit more power. So let's take it down to this dead end here and we'll see what the turning circle is like. Now this does have the carbon performance package, which adds the rear wheel steering, so it should be a pretty tight turning circle as well. So definitely if you live in the city, you know, that would be a good option to have, since the turning circle is pretty good. Now, I have driven quite a few EVs in my lifetime, or the short lifetime that EVs have been out, I should say. And each one has their characteristic sort of whine or electric noise that comes out of the vehicle. This one's pretty interesting so far. It's definitely a little bit louder than the standard e-tron GT, which is pretty neat. Alright, so we'll get it out onto this main road here and we'll see what it's like, the noise levels and everything like that. Now we are on summer performance tires with this vehicle, which will increase the grip quite a bit. As you can see, the steering ratio is pretty quick. Not a whole lot of feel in comfort, but there's definitely a feel to it. It definitely sharpens up a bit while you're in dynamic mode. Let's see if we can get the lanes to pick up for the lane keep assist. Once it detects the lanes, it'll actually, the lanes in there will light up green like so. And once we don't see any traffic, we'll kind of just veer out of the lane and see how it corrects us. So the lanes kind of disappeared a little bit, so we couldn't really see it. We'll see if we can try it again here. Yeah, the lanes are kind of patchy on this particular road, but if you get a road with actually good lines, it'll pick up pretty good. Here, let's see if we can try it. All right, so you can see on the screen and also in the heads-up display, that lane will turn red, kind of as a first warning, and then it'll just gently steer you back into your own lane so you don't hit any oncoming traffic or have anything else go wrong. It's a very gentle system. It won't jerk you back in the lane, scare you, or anything like that. It'll just kind of veer you over into the lane. So at this point, I'm going to change it over to the dynamic mode, since we'll get a little acceleration up this hill here. What I like to do is get the car up to 25 miles an hour. We'll punch it and see how fast we can get it to go to 60. Which I'm assuming this will probably be the fastest car to 60 that I've ever had on this channel. Alright, so we'll get it to 25 and see what happens. My God. Oh my God. That is probably one of the craziest accelerations I have ever felt. Wow. That is unbelievable. No, so this car let me catch my breath for a minute here. Wow. So this car we're working with has just over 600 horsepower, which is a very, very fair amount. And in a gas car, you know, that's a lot, but in an electric car, it just feels a lot faster. It's just so instant. And so the way this vehicle works is you basically have a front motor and a rear motor. Now the front axle has an independent transmission from the rear. The front one is a single-speed transmission. The rear one is a double-speed transmission, so 2-speed transmission. And during that acceleration, I think I felt it shift, which is pretty neat. That is just something. Wow, this car is unbelievably fast. And it just puts the power down with no drama, and just goes. And even dynamic mode with suspension definitely firms up, but it's not intolerable. It's actually still pretty compliant. So I'll leave it in dynamic mode since there's a corner here I'd like to hit with a little bit of speed. I'm not doing anything crazy, of course, with the $158,000 sticker car that this is. Even at 50% power, this car is just unbelievable. And it just grips. It just grips. And I believe the front tires are 285/35, and the rear tires are 305/30. So they're pretty large tires, front and rear. They're staggered. Just a great performer. So we'll switch it back into comfort mode since we have some bumps coming up here. Now you can definitely hear the bumps from those large wheels and tires, but it does a very good job of soaking up the bumps. It's not quite as comfortable as the standard e-tron GT. You could definitely feel a little bit of a difference there, but it's still a pretty comfortable ride. And there definitely is pretty big difference between, you know, the comfort and dynamic mode as far as the suspension stiffness, as well as the steering stiffness. So that's definitely a plus too. That's quite a difference. You really have to be careful in a car like this. You know, you just tap the throttle and you'll see the speedometer be going way too fast. Pretty impressive ride. And there's a little bit of noise from the tires and things like that, going over the bumps and a little bit of rougher roads like that, but very, very muted wind noise. There's dual plane glass on this vehicle with a sort of acoustic material in the center, in which I took this vehicle through the automated car wash before filming this video, and you know, you could always tell if you take a car to the car wash and you take, you know, through those drying fans, you know, you can always tell a quietness of that vehicle without taking it up on the highway. And I could tell you, it's just about as quiet as an A8 through those fans there. It's pretty astonishing, even that this car has frameless glass, that they could make it, you know, this quiet inside. And it definitely helps the quiet level, not having an internal combustion engine. Just an astonishing car this is, with the acceleration, just unbelievable. So if the road is clear ahead, maybe we'll get one more quick acceleration. Let's see. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Wow. That time I actually felt the rear transmission kick up. It must have went from second to first. Alrighty, so just driving back into our little home base here. What are my wrap-up thoughts on the RS e-tron GT? Now, when I first drove the normal, sort of regular e-tron GT, I thought that was a crazy car, and it truly is. But this just takes the performance to a completely different level that I didn't even know was honestly possible. You know, I've driven some my fair share of pretty fast internal combustion engine cars, and you just don't get the same feeling as you do with the electric cars. And I really hate to say it, because I absolutely love my internal combustion engine cars, and I hope they never go away. But this just might be the future of performance if everything can be figured out as far as range and charging times and things like that. But now that you know my thoughts of the RS e-tron GT, I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. I hope it gave you a little bit of a smile seeing my childish reaction to the acceleration. And I also hope you stay with us here at Ty Drives for more videos just like this one.